Folks, I kid you not when I say this, but right this very moment, as it pertains to bringing justice to the Democrats and all of their anti-American agents of the deep state,
we're in charge.
Things are currently moving along at light speed. We're talking about federal indictments, arrest, criminal charges, and really in a lot of ways, the most recent apprehension of Nicolas Maduro down in Venezuela has ultimately proven to be the catalyst for this entire situation. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben Dykes, a proud veteran of the United States Navy Submarine Service. And if you're new here, this is where we dive into exposing the hypocrisy of the mainstream news media and the liberal Democrat Party. Over the last 36 hours, we've been getting bits and pieces of information from various Trump administration insiders, as well as from the President, Donald Trump himself, letting all of us know exactly what's unfolding behind the scenes. So today, folks, we're going to piece together the entire situation, and trust me, I think you're going to love it. Make sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and smack the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing. Without further delay, let's dive right into the news.
Dive.
To kick things off, let me introduce you to Ed Martin, the Associate Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice and President Trump's personally designated pardon attorney. For the past 11 months, Ed's been quietly building airtight criminal cases against your favorite Democrats and deep state operatives, including investigating the legitimacy of Joe Biden's shady auto pen pardons. Yesterday afternoon, he broke his silence with two very intriguing posts on his official government X account. First, he reposted a message saying, "I believe before the midterm elections, there will be a line of incarcerated bad guys longer than Black Friday at a Walmart," and responded with fair prediction. Folks, think about it. This lines up perfectly. Building bulletproof cases takes time, which is what Ed and his team have been doing all through 2025. Pretty much remain silent. You don't see him going on any talk shows. And politically, dropping these bombshells during the 2026 midterm season maximizes their impact, shutting down the Democrats when it hurts them most. We all know how short our political memories are in this fast-paced 24-hour news cycle. What was the top story a few weeks ago? I don't think you know. And exactly, nobody remembers. So saving these arrests for election time is nothing more than pure strategy. But Ed's second post is even more telling. He responded to someone saying it's going to be a wild time when Maduro tries to plead to lesser charges by preferring evidence that the 2020 election had a little funny business with it. And this was with a simple exclamation point. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This confirms Biden's pardons are getting overturned. Arrests are coming soon, and Maduro's likely to sing like a canary, exposing the Democrats who may or may not have had their hands on the scale of justice with Venezuela's help. This gets even more curious when you look at what former National Security Advisor General Mike Flynn posted yesterday. He reposted a Truth Social message from President Trump himself stating that the CIA toppled the U.S. government on November the 3rd, 2020, and that Dominion deleted, allegedly, 2.7 million Trump ballots nationwide. And get this, Trump made that post within 2 hours of Nicolas Maduro's apprehension by U.S. Special Forces in Caracas. Why would President Trump start talking election funny business and the CIA coup right after nabbing Maduro? especially with new CIA director John Ratcliffe watching over Trump's shoulder in the command room. He was just standing off to the right. Folks, the times, they are a-changin', and I'm talking fast. Since Maduro's arrest about, I would say 46, 48 hours ago, Trump has hammered election interference over a half a dozen times, reposting videos on the 2020 CIA coup, Dominion machines, Venezuelan Smartmatic software, and more. I want you to check this one out. Trump reposted this video saying, check this one out.
I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot.
Trump reposted this video about Dominion machines. You think the timing here is a coincidence? A Venezuelan military intelligence whistleblower has confirmed the CIA outsources election funny business like Smartmatic and Dominion from Nicolas Maduro's Venezuela. Explicit as it gets, Trump's sending a clear message. People have been talking about this for years. And you remember what former federal prosecutor and General Flynn's own attorney, Sidney Powell, said a couple years back, said, I can hardly wait to put forth all the evidence that we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact it was created to produce altered results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez. Now, I want to ask you something. This whole operation in Caracas, Hugo Chavez's grave, his tomb, was actually one of the sites for one of the hellfires, one of the big boom booms. Is that a coincidence? I'm not sure that Donald Trump runs in coincidences. But this was all funded by money from Venezuela and Cuba and China. They all have a role in it. We have staggering testimony from witnesses, including one who was personally in briefings when all of this was discussed and planned, going all the way back to Hugo Chavez, and how it was designed there, and then saw it happening in this country. Sidney Powell was ahead of her time. She's about to be able to say, I told you so. And you know, a woman scorned loves saying, I told you so. But the fallout doesn't stop there. Venezuela's former chief of national intelligence, Hugo Carvajal, is reportedly naming names with dozens of corrupt Democrats at the top of the list, up to 100 elected members of the United States Congress. Okay? Carvajal, who's serving time in the United States federal prison after pleading guilty to the narco-terror stuff with boats last year, wrote a letter to Trump in December alleging that U.S. officials and CIA officers took millions in kickbacks from Maduro to keep him in power. Does it make sense now when you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rand Paul, Thomas Massie, all singing the same tune as the Democrat Party? Now, these conflicting reports exist. One says no specific names, but another circulating, another list hits major Democrat senators and a handful of Republicans that I name. This is yet to be fully verified, but it's the tip of the iceberg for Venezuela's global corruption network. And I'll ask you this, have you seen Tulsi Gabbard lately? Or is she busy in the basement with a stack of files? The Chavez-Maduro regime has been in power since 1998. It was basically an international crime ring disguised as a government centered on the Cartel de los Soles, Venezuela's military-led outfit, which has been controlling oil and elections while looting trillions from their own people. Now, this has went on to fund key players like Hezbollah, bringing Iranian influence, Diosdado Cabello, and Jorge Rodriguez, whose sister is now, funnily enough, vice president. This network partnered with China, Iran, Russia, and other groups that all hate America, turning Venezuela into like this gangster cafe. China poured in $100 billion into Venezuela over 40% of its Latin American lending. And do you also think it's a coincidence that Donald Trump went and took Maduro on the same day that China was in the Western Hemisphere meeting with Nicolas Maduro? Once again, I don't believe Trump runs in coincidences. Let's say that. Now, Venezuela defaulted on $19 billion loan from China, yet China upgraded ties to an all-weather strategic partnership in 2023, buying up to 80% of its oil at discounts and supplying surveillance technology and some other toxic stuff that they like to send into America. This is all changing so quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Even Hezbollah's been involved. The Houthi rebels, they're all getting money. They're all getting shipments in and out of Venezuela. And I'm going to say this, and I firmly believe this after talking to a friend of mine today that is, let's say he's within the game. There are no coincidences. But what you're about to see rolling into the midterms is going to be drastic prices dropping on Amazon, on your grocery shelves, energy, because everything in America is ran by diesel fuel. And when you lower the cost of diesel, when you lower the cost of oil, and we start selling oil to China, when we start selling oil to Iran, we cut OPEC out. I'll tell you a country that we also cut out, our little neighbors to the north, Canada. Canada has been propped up by this higher cost in oil, and it's hurt the American economy. Trump is no fan of Canada right now. And I'll tell you this, while all of this is going on, the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, well, he got his little ruffles in a twist as well because he wasn't informed that all of this was going to happen. Now, all of these forces, Soros, Iran, China, Cuba, Venezuela, they all claim to weaken America. Well, Donald Trump has just changed the game. We're seeing an awakening across America, and we're seeing it across Latin America with Nayib Bukele in El Salvador and Javier Milei in Argentina. They're making South America great again. Trump isn't invading. He's freeing nations from globalist grips, folks, and it's pissing the Democrat Party off. And right now, on the heels of all the Somali fraud and how they are actually defending Nicolas Maduro, it really looks ironic. It's only a couple of weeks they were parading around the United States singing No Kings, and now they're protesting, basically worshiping an actual dictator. Until next time, stay vigilant. This is the Ben Dykes channel. Smash the like and subscribe button on your way out the door, and I will see you in the next one.